And it still blows my mind to this day, like how people don't realize how hard business is. It's like, yeah, 100 flyers in your community is not going to work. You need to do like 1,000. I've built many $1 million businesses in the last 5 years just with an email, no website, crappy business name, just an email and a spreadsheet. Just emailed, 20 people a day, and then emailed 100 people a week, and just did the rigor, man. And I built multiple $1 million businesses that way.
Before you can automate anything effectively, you actually have to sit down, send the text messages, send the emails, write them out, do the work, and produce the results. Because if you don't know how to do it yourself, then you don't know how to build something that can do it on autopilot. Well, cool, man. Young, I appreciate you jumping on the show. And you've built like 20 businesses, right? Or do you currently own 20 businesses, or you've built them and you've sold some of them? Or tell me about your approach to business and what you've done so far.
Yeah. So I've built a lot of businesses, probably more than 20 in my career. But over the last 4 years, I have built over 20 businesses, failed many. And so now I currently own and operate 14 businesses.
Okay.
And my goal is to own 20 businesses within 5 years. So that is kind of the big work sprint and idea behind what I'm doing right now. But the idea is to build, invest, and buy 20 cash flow businesses. And I have like 10 more months to do it.
There you go. So are you focused in on like a specific sector? Are you looking for more like a diversified portfolio of businesses that you own? Like what's the... Yeah, tell me about that.
I mean, I kind of have to, it's kind of a longer answer, unfortunately, if you don't mind me sharing for a few minutes.
No,
but
go for it.
Yeah, I kind of had a midlife crisis. I turned 40 and I had 2 young daughters, and I don't know, my value props changed, and I just went from Silicon Valley venture-backed startup to startup, building my own startups, raising money for other people, working as a W-2, just being in that ecosystem.
Yeah.
And then I turned 40 and had young daughters, and I don't know, my value props just changed. And I started getting super depressed and super overweight. And my wife's like, this is not attractive. We got to do something about this. And I just kind of started doing a lot of soul searching and interviewing people and just random people that I thought were successful, and just trying to find myself, really.
Yeah.
And so the culmination, there's a longer story, but the fast version is that I decided to do something about it and try to change something and mix it up. And so I packed up my family and moved to small town Texas, sight unseen.
Yeah.
And now we live in the country, and we live in a nice little acre of land, and we have a bunch of playgrounds, and we have frogs and crickets, and there's a creek that backs up into our backyard, and my kids are out there playing in the dirt, and they're total country girls. It's awesome. They're not afraid of bugs and critters. It's great. And I started consulting, man. And as I started consulting, because I needed to still live and work, I didn't make enough money to, retire early. And so I started consulting, and all my experiences building businesses and all my experiences at startups and entrepreneurial experiences were compounded by consulting. Because when you build business and when you work inside of companies, you typically learn from those companies in the time that you're there. But when you're a consultant, you can take on 4, 6, 8 clients at a time. And so the learning gets multiplied faster because there's a lot of commonalities between business. And after about a year of consulting, I started getting really good at it. And I started realizing that 75% of business is exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so 25% is a little different, right? Like what you do. Are you a mental health company? Are you a services company? Do you train dogs? Do you, do you build AI tools? Do you like those things are different, right? The function, the purpose of the business is different. The values of the business is different.
Yeah.
But 75% of the business is exactly the same. You still need a market. You still need top of funnel, bottom of funnel. You need to be able to service and deliver the product and service. You need to be able to take Q&A or support calls. You need to be able to do operations and systems building. You need to do finance. It's like there's just core pillars that are exactly the same.
Totally.
And so I started building an operating system, and so I can optimize my consulting practice and do more. Because if I can optimize or operationalize 75% of what I thought was the same, the thesis was I could help more companies. And I started helping a lot of these companies, and it worked. And I started helping a lot more companies at once. And I was able to scale myself pretty quickly. Not scale myself. I just made myself more efficient.
Yeah.
And then a lot of my clients started making a lot of money. And I just was scratching my head going, man, I should do something with this instead of just making all these other people money. And so, I started this idea of building my own incubator. And so the plan is that I'd like to spend the rest of my life, doing something a little more meaningful. And this kind of goes back to the midlife crisis, which is why it takes a little longer to answer. But I'm like, if I was to think about what would make me happy to do in my, 50s and 60s, and like what would be very satisfying for me would be helping more Americans, learn how to build business and build equity and help them enter the middle class. Yeah. And there's a lot of ways to do that, but the asset class that I'm good at and like to focus on is business.
Yeah.
And so if I can help more Americans do that, then that would be really satisfactory for me. And so I started this kind of incubator because the first thing that, someone says when they say, hey, you're really good at baking these cookies. Have you ever thought about opening up a bakery? The first thing they say is, I don't have the money to do that, nor do I want to spend the money to risk doing that. The risk cost is too high.
Right.
So could I build a bunch of cash flow businesses where I could then fund them and mitigate that risk?
Yeah.
That's one. The second thing they always say is, hey, I'm a baker. I'm not a business person, or I'm an artist. I'm not a business person.
Yeah.
I'm a function expert. I'm not a business person.
Right.
So that risk is also high. And so if I gave them an operating system and a community and a network and an incubator to follow, then I could mitigate that risk as well too. And so that's kind of how I reverse engineered all of this. So when I have 14 businesses, it's actually an ecosystem. So I have a small business coaching business that has my operating system called Owners Club. Mm-hmm. And then as you work with my coach through my operating system, you inevitably need video production. So I have a video production company called Flipbirds. You need digital marketing. I have Honey and Hive. You need sales training and coaching. I have Next Step Leader. You need L&D for training and development. I have Plumeria. You need compliance. I don't have that one yet. I outsource that to a referred partner for HR compliance.
Yeah.
And then you need bookkeeping and taxes. I outsource that as well. I don't own that one yet. And then as you go through this gauntlet, you start to become more successful and mitigate your chance of failure. And then once you get to $2 or $3 million, I can put you into my fractional CFO business and help you take it to 100 million.
Wow. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So what are those?
Yeah. And so I built the incubator, and then sorry, I got to tell the last part of it. And then I had to test it. So 4 years ago, I built the first part of it, and I dropped a pool cleaning company, a random business, through the gauntlet, and to see how the gauntlet worked and the incubator worked, and then tweaked it, messed around with it. There was a lot of things that were missing. Mm-hmm. And then I optimized it better. And then the pool cleaning company is doing great. It's actually one of my biggest companies, funny enough. We'll do $6 million this year in our 5th year business. Amazing. It's just unbelievable.
Amazing.
Yeah. I know, it's incredible business. And then the second business was a tattoo cosmetics company.
Okay.
And I ran that through the gauntlet. So and I learned a lot about the incubator, what was missing, how I can make it better. And then this third one is I'm doing a wellness gym. And so that'll go through the gauntlet this year. And then hopefully the incubator will be a lot stronger and tighter because I ran these random businesses through the incubator. But each one of these businesses is one of my businesses that's in the incubator. So they're all cash flow positive. They're all making money. And they're all generating the cash that I can use to go fund the average American to encourage them to start a business.
That's amazing.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
That's the hope, yeah.
So then it kind of becomes this recurring flywheel where you're partnering with a business, you're taking them through the incubator or maybe a startup or whatever. Maybe is that usually where you catch them is like before they even decide to do it, and you're kind of helping them start it from the very beginning? Or are you bringing in people that they've got a really great idea, they're creative, they've got something really valuable to bring to market, or they see an opportunity, even like with a pool clean? I mean, that's not novel, but sometimes people overlook the boring, unsexy thing like cleaning a pool, and someone takes the risk and decides, well, I'm going to do that, and so where do you usually catch these people that are kind of coming into your incubator and then eventually getting to the point where you're able to spin off cash flow?
Yeah, it's a lot of convincing people for sure. I mean, it's not a normal ask, and I've had some really funny conversations with people because I've asked people that I've become friends with. Like my barber. Actually, I wanted to buy in.
Yeah,
and he pulled me aside. After like 8 months, and I've had him over my house to barbecue and all this other stuff. And he's like, "Can I tell you something funny?" And I'm like, "Sure." He's like, "There's literally like 11 Asian people that live in this town, and you're one of them, and like you're randomly wanting to give me a lot of money to like buy into my business. It feels like one of those Nigerian prince email scams, like it's just like so funny." I was like, I don't mean to offend, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. Like I never thought about it that way, And he's just like, it's just too random. Like it feels too good to be true that you would want to like give me a large sum of money own be a business partner in my little barbershop. And it was a great moment of transparency and vulnerability on his side. But it was also really interesting for me to learn that, that you have to do a lot of reps. It's not easy to find people that want to partner like that or want to grow and scale.
Yeah.
And then it's also even harder to convince people to do it, and leave a W-2 and take on this kind of challenge. So, but to go back to your answer more directly, I do all three. So I build. I primarily have been building the first 3 years. I find a business partner that I want to build with, and I convince them to do it with me, and I mitigate it with money. So like, hey, I can't afford not to make money. Great, I'll pay your salary for the first year. But I'm going to take this amount of equity because of that. If I de-risk it, then I get more equity, and so. That's how I did it. And then the third and fourth year, I've been playing around with investing. So buying a minority ownership in an established business.
Okay.
And doing it through investments and minority ownership, and applying my skills and expertise to help complement their skills. And then this year, I'm practicing acquisitions. So flat out buying businesses. Yeah.
Flat out buying existing cash flowing businesses. Seems like kind of the gamut of different business types, right? Some service-based stuff,
ideally businesses that are not doing well is what I'm looking for.
Okay, because you can bring the value in the operational kind of incubator to be able to turn those businesses around. Yeah,
I mean, the hard part right now, it's so popular to buy businesses, especially service businesses. It's like unbelievably popular right now, and so you're competing against a lot of people to acquire these businesses.
Yeah.
So private equity is involved, and they're going lower and lower market. And then you have a lot of people like me that are tech executives that are just like romanticizing this idea of buying a laundromat or, car wash. And, that's just kind of a thing. It's like a trend right now. And so there's so many smart people with money trying to buy these businesses. And so the valuations get really high.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, I know my skill set. My skill set is operating, and so if I can find a business that's in trouble or not doing well, you can buy it for a lot cheaper, and then you just fix it. You know, and then it goes a lot faster that way, so you can get a better value for it. So that's kind of how I'm doing it. But it's an interesting
so you thesis, mentioned 75 in your experience, and I know it's an anecdotal stat probably, but 75% of business is all the same, regardless of sector, regardless of industry, regardless of whether it's a product, a service, whatever. And then the 25% is nuanced to specifically what they do. So I would imagine when you go in,
the values of the founder,
and the values, the culture of the company, all of that's very nuanced, of course. Yeah. And those are obviously that 25%, the culture piece. I mean, we know that's make or break in most cases for a business.
Yeah, it can culture. It can be. Yeah, absolutely. It definitely can. It impacts a lot, but I don't give it a high score, because once you understand the frameworks for building like core values and enforcing them in a company, it's actually a process. It's not this magical thing. Like, you can literally say there's two ways to do culture. You either inherit it through osmosis and just letting it happen, or you can design it, intentionally manufacture it.
Yeah.
Once you know those two things, then you can help either define it if you're doing it osmosis, or you can work with the founder to define it and then enforce it. It's very programmatic once you understand it. And so I think it's very important, but it's not bigger than 25%. It's a very easy task, in my opinion, to solve for.
Right, because you can take it and you can shape it inside of the 75% that applies to every business, because every business has a culture. It's just what that culture
every business
is.
has a culture. Yeah, whether you've inherited it, you've inherited exactly and culture really comes down to, you can break down culture to even more programmatic methodologies and frameworks. It's really, like, for me, it's really your risk profile. Like the founder's risk profile, how fast you want, the velocity at speed in which you want to operate and work, and what you reward and what you punish. That's really it. And then there's obviously other components to it, but it's your expectations of speed, quality, and quantity of work. That's really it. And if you can define those things for the founder, it's very, very programmatic and quantifiable to help them build that culture in a company.
Yeah. So what are some things that you see when you partner with a business, they kind of come into your incubator? What are some of the earliest things to surface that are the most obvious problems that have to be addressed or fixed usually?
The first thing usually the most common ones that I find are educating people on how much more you have to do than they think they need to do.
Okay.
And it still blows my mind to this day, like how people don't realize how hard business is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just unbelievable to me. Like there's people will come to me and say, "Hey, I need your help to do this business. You're a business guy, right? This and this and that." And they'll say, I'm having trouble getting, a manager, or I'm having trouble finding labor, or I'm having trouble getting leads or customers." And I'm like, "Oh, great." And start digging in to understand the problem. And you don't have to dig that far, because they'll say "Oh yeah, I have this new professional service I launched. I want to do consulting for, go to market." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. So you're a go to market person. You must be good at this." And you find out that they emailed I don't know, 10 people or 20 people.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, there's your problem. I don't even need to know what you're emailing. You should do 8 times that amount.
Right.
And they're like, "I don't even know if I have that many friends to email." And I'm like, "I don't know what to tell you, but you need to email more people, and then start telling your 20 friends to give you introductions to other people to email." But the sheer quantity, they think it's like an hour task. And I'm like, I don't know if you understand, but when you're starting a business, or you're sub $5 million in annual revenue, the sheer volume of work you have to do to get nominal results at your W-2 is just so much higher than people expect. And so that calibration of expectation is always the first thing that I find is just they're very confused on how much you have to do.
Yeah.
It's 100 flyers in your community is not going to work. You need to do 1,000.
Yeah.
Even to this day, I still email 40 or 50 people a week just to stay in touch and say hi and just touch base with them. And I don't even need the leads. And I do that just so I never have to need the leads. Do you know what I mean? And it blows people's minds, because I'm doing more outbound outreach than the person that needs it. Do you know what I mean? And I don't even need it. And so it's one of those things that I think is the most common. The second thing that I think is also the most common is that they overcomplicate stuff. I've built many $1 million businesses in the last 5 years just with an email, no website. Crappy business name, no website, no logo. Just an email and a spreadsheet. Just emailed, 20 people a day, and then emailed 100 people a week, and just did the rigor, man. And I built multiple $1 million businesses that way.
Yeah. So it's just volume plus time committed, plus at some point, then you create leveraged ways to execute on those things, automated outreach, automated outbound, all that kind of stuff. At what point though, I mean, obviously, one of the principles in our businesses, we've got a real estate backed private equity firm that we run. We've got about 290 million in assets under management in that business. That led us to offshoot kind of to build out this coaching platform, because we basically unlocked a systematic kind of programmatic way for launching kind of a turnkey franchisable single asset fund model, where then we sort of pioneered this idea, and we're able to basically plug in the system that we use, that I personally use, from zero capital raising experience at all whatsoever. Everything I'd always done was just my own money. Right. That's all I'd ever done, was just buy real estate or invest just with my own money, build businesses, all that kind of thing, to then raising capital. I never raised $1 and fell flat on my face my first try. I hit 50% of the raise goal. It put the operator in a mess, because they had to go out and find someone else to bring the other 2 million of capital, all that. And then was able to, okay, I'm going to take that failure and I'm going to learn for it. I'm going to realize, and exactly something that you said triggered the thought of me, because I realized the sheer quantity, not just of stuff that I need to do, not just of work I need to do, but systems and processes that I need to build, things that I'm going to put a lot of work now, so that I've got a systematic and programmatic way for these results to be achieved for a long time into the future. And I mean, since that, over the last 3 years, I've raised over $60 million of capital, and documented the whole process and had the entire system outlaid. And so now we bring in entrepreneurs who want to build kind of honestly a private equity side hustle, where they're launching their own funds and acquiring businesses, or investing in multifamily apartment complexes, or doing all that. And the reason I'm saying all that is it really is the case. What you're saying is absolutely true. Anytime you start in a business, before you can automate anything effectively, including outbound outreach and lead gathering and all that, you actually have to sit down, send the text messages, send the emails, write them out, do the work, do it every single day and produce the results. Because if you don't know how to do it yourself, then you don't know how to build something that can do it on autopilot. You don't know what works.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's kind of my philosophy as well too. And people always say like, there's technology for that, there's tools for that, there's services for that. But my thought process is, I'm not asking you to be the world's greatest marketer. I actually don't want you to be great at anything. I think as a business owner, you should be pretty shitty at everything. I encourage people to be as mediocre as possible at everything, but you should at least have a barometer to say like, I'm not a good marketer. And I can email 100 people and generate this much revenue in 6 weeks. You're supposed to be a better marketer or salesperson than I am. So I'm going to hire you, and you have 2 months to basically beat my conversion rates, my inputs and outputs. I'm not even good at this, and this is what I do. You need to be able to say it that clearly and succinctly, or else it's really hard to scale through people. Or automations or technology. Like the technology has to work that level, right? And so whatever it is you're doing to automate or expedite or operationalize, it's always good to like, especially when you're starting your own business, to do it yourself or find someone to do it so you can actually like bench it against something. That's my thought process. But
so when you go in, you start this, you've got someone, you're saying, hey, John, the guy who makes really good cookies, who's trying to turn the cookies into a business, right? You got to reach out to, like, are you setting KPI targets for them and then showing them how to effectively track those metrics? Or are you just saying like, go out and get a bunch of reps in and then we'll figure all of that part out?
It depends. I mean, like, I don't expect it to be as crazy as I do it. I mean, I do a lot more than the average person, but that's just because I just like data and numbers and it tests me a little bit. But yeah, I'll basically ask them to brainstorm 5 or 6 things that they think they can do to generate top of funnel leads, and then 5 or 6 things they could do to increase the conversion rate and the time to close for the bottom of funnel leads, right? Like just go through every stage of the customer journey and build out 5 or 6 tactics that they want to test, and then take 2 of them at a time and test it. Test it for 2 months, test it for 6 months, pick a time frame, test it. I call it the XYZ method. What are you going to do for Y amount of time for Z result? And then test everything. And then at the end of 6 months, at the end of 1 year, we'll look at it. We'll pick the ones that had the best ROI. And that's what you're going to do for the next year. And then you're going to hire someone to say, hey, I'm a really shitty operator. Here's how fast I was able to deliver my clients for this many hours, this efficiently, with this quality. If you can't beat this level of work in the next 2 months, you're fired.
Wow. And
you just start outsourcing it. That's a very programmatic approach to building business, but it worked. It's very methodical, and that's the entire premise of my operating system. We mathematically solve the problem.
We talk a lot, and I've said this a lot. I coach our coaching clients on this, all of that. Like when you're investing, business, all of it, it's all the same. When you're doing it
I think so.
In private equity or private placement, right? When you get into public, there's so much macro narrative, risk on, risk off behavior that determine what things are going to do. Amazon can see, its best earnings report in a quarter that it's ever had and lose 12% of its stock value because some politician tweeted something. You know what I mean? Like the values are just so that it's no longer anchored in the fundamentals of business at that point. It's anchored in 50 different other things that are entirely uncontrollable by the business itself. But when you're investing in a privately held business, your investment is anchored far closely to the fundamental execution of that business. And so when people are thinking, hey, like a lot of the people we work with are established business owners, they've had tons of success, they've been able to build lots of cool stuff, but they're like, I don't know how to assess or vet a real estate investment opportunity because I've only ever bought single family homes in neighborhoods or in markets that I understand and drive by every day or whatever. And the first thing that I coach them in is it's the same 3 core fundamentals that are in every business that make up 90% of the 75% you mentioned. It's you got to understand your revenue sources and have a plan to increase those. You got to understand your expenses and have a plan to decrease those. And number 3 is you got to know who your people are who are responsible for executing the plans for 1 and 2. And that's really everything that you need to know. Now, everything else that you do is drilling in on one of those 3 core fundamentals, right? It's not that complicated, but people make it so people make it more complicated than it is. I mean, in real estate and multifamily, which is what we do a lot of, we get revenue from tenants and ancillary income like bulk internet or paid parking or a handful of small line items like that, right?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
How do we get more revenue? Well, we improve the tenant experience so they'll pay us more to live there and increase the rents. Expenses, we look at those. We create operational efficiencies. We renegotiate insurance so we can bring the insurance costs down. There's all kinds of like levers we can pull there. And then the people, it's like, who are our on-site property managers? Who are we using for maintenance? Are these people able to execute those plans? Who's our senior asset manager on the portfolio? All those kind of things, right? And I think that's if business owners understood that all business and all investment in the private world really comes down to anchoring in those three core fundamentals and knowing enough information about those three core fundamentals, then I think people would make a lot more money. But it's what you said that triggered me on that was we overcomplicate it. Business owners overcomplicate it.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And I mean, I'm writing a book as we speak. Well, it's actually already written. I just need to publish it. But it's going to be called Built Boring. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, because people think I'm crazy. Like, why would you start 20 businesses instead of just doing one really big one? But for me, it's like if you can mechanicalize the art of building a business and you have a high success rate, because the average small business dies, in 3 years, like 92% in the first 5 years or something like that. And then something like 80% in the first 3 years. It's really hard to start a business and succeed, right?
Yep.
But if you can increase that ratio, and so far I'm performing pretty well, I'm like, high 60s%, in the success rate. And I have a very high success rate of reaching the coveted $1 million mark, which less than 10% of small business owners ever hit, right? And if you can get those ratios up and you can mechanicalize the process, and then I don't know why I would do one. I would do a lot, because if it's just a machine, it's an SOP, then you just follow it.
Yeah.
And then I will say that the only thing that I would differ on your statement is I agree with you. It's simpler than the public markets, but there are nuances, to valuing your business. Like for example, I tell business owners all the time, like, if you know your price, sensitivity, I call it price elasticity, but if you know like your pricing models and you want to get a loan that's revenue based, then you can lower your price and convert more. If you know you want to get an SBA loan or you want to get an investor that really favors EBITDA or cash flow, then you can raise your price and service less people, but get more profit. There's a lot of ways to change the value of your company based on what you want. If you know these SOPs, like if you can dial your business into a system, you literally can control it and quite literally manipulate it to what you want to achieve in your life, which goes to the last point. For me, I don't think a small business should be your job. I think you need to make it so that it works for you.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just too much work. It's too much work, too much risk. It's way cheaper, way safer, way less stress than you probably will make more working less if you were just a W-2 doing that function. Yeah. And so unless you're going to really focus on making it work for you and learning to be a good business person and operating it mechanically, in my mind, and I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me, it's controversial, but I don't really think you should own a business. You should just go get a job. It's like, go spend more time on your health and your kids and take your increasing vacation pay with seniority and merit. Why are you doing that? Like the risk is so high, it's just like, I don't know. It's just, that's how I feel. And so
average business owner works over 60 hours a week, and average business owner, same pool, makes $47,000 a year personally.
Oh, I didn't know those stats.
Those are the averages. So it just is echoing exactly what you're saying. It's like, if you're going to start a business with the goal of it just being you running it the whole time, and and instead of it working for you to serve your lifestyle, then you might as well just go get a job and de-risk yourself.
Totally.
You'll probably make more money, and you'll be, you can clock in, work 40 hours. You'll get all your weekends off. You get 3 weeks of paid vacation. You can take your kids to Disney World. You can do all the stuff you actually want to do, that you think your business is going to do for you. Right?
Yeah. Journal in the morning, go to church on Sunday,
get a rhythm, relax, go to church, do all this
turn
stuff,
off your phone when you're at the beach. Yeah. Yeah. I will tell you right now, knowing what I know now and being on this journey for the last 5 years of building these businesses. Well, I'm on a 4-year sprint, but I have been technically working on this for 5 years on my consulting business. But people ask me all the time, like, hey, knowing what you know, would you ever go back to a W-2? And I said, knowing what I know, yeah, I absolutely would.
Yeah.
I'm like 51. I'm 51 W-2, 49 entrepreneurship. It's literally more veered towards W-2 because knowing what I know now, I would much rather just make a little less money than I'm making now and just have my time and sanity back.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I mean, obviously over time, I'll make a lot more than I ever would as a W-2 because my businesses are actually starting to succeed and they're starting to grow a lot more. But I don't need that money. I mean, it's not like I'm not like driving fancy cars. I wear t-shirts for a living. I live in the country. I'm not I'm not in need of a lot of money to be happy, you know? And so the reality is like, I would totally, knowing what I know now, it definitely wasn't worth the risk, pain, emotional journey of the last 4 years. I'm just telling you. Yeah. It kind of throws people off because I'm like a big, advocate for small business ownership, but you have to know the risk before you start it. And so when I ask people to help do this with me or if they want to do it with me, I make sure they understand that this is not easy.
Yep.
You're putting yourself through a lot of risk, a lot of pain, a lot of work for the potential upside of making a lot more money in the long-term future, right?
And do you think
if they don't understand,
go ahead.
I was just saying, like, if someone gave me that choice right now, like a magic wand, I would most likely go back to a W-2.
Yeah. So then that's interesting, but probably a lot of, I mean, I would imagine just kind of having talked to you a little bit, you've got your podcast, the Girl Dad Show, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of that, I mean, you mentioned at the start of our conversation that sort of what created this whole pivot outside of kind of W-2 in the startup world in Silicon Valley to moving to the Texas countryside and all that, probably a lot that had to do with sort of that midlife crisis, as you called it, that kind of led you to the massive pivot, was realizing like, I'm not going to have these girls forever. I want to be able to give them the life that I desire for them to have, but also not just give them that life, but give them myself. And building businesses has the potential to create that kind of flexibility that allows that. But I think a lot of times people have this fantasy that if they build the business, then it sets them free, and it can, and it absolutely will. And I know you and I, to some degree, have both experienced that, the power of that, the time freedom aspect of it. But they don't, like, a lot of people set off and they build their business more like they're building a job for themselves than they actually build the business. Totally. And everything that you work to systematize and create systems, processes, playbooks for, all of that lives inside of their head. And then they fall into this trap, this false belief that nobody could do this job that I'm doing in the business better than I could. And so there's they hear the word delegate, they hear you say outsource, and they feel like, well, that might work for Young because he's not XYZ. There's always this belief, and that's why we created the show, to be honest with you, is there are so many business owners that are
I will tell you one thing though, before you, because I have a little bit of a disagreement on that as well too. I don't think that anyone will do the job as good as me. I think I am the best at it. I care the most for sure. But as long as they're 70% of what I would do, I'm totally fine with it.
Well, and that's ultimately that's ultimately what I'm getting at, is they don't have to do it like that. You aren't going to be able to get someone to care as much about your baby as you do.
No, and they're not going to optimize it as well as me. They're not going to fight for it to perfection as much as me. So just settle for 70% and scale. Just keep going.
Exactly.
And, you know what I mean? Just know that that's normal and don't get so upset about it. Stop wasting calories on things you're not going to change. Just be happy if you get someone that does 80%. That's amazing. Like, just move forward. Just know that the stat is like 70% is good.
But at a certain point, you will bottleneck the progress if you don't move yourself out of the way. You will bottleneck the growth, the scalability, the places it could go. And even if they're only doing the parts that the business does now, even if you as the owner or, somebody can only do it 70% of that, if you don't get yourself out of the way, settle for that 70%, then you don't get the slingshot of where the business can grow when it's not so anchored in the key man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, the key man problem is huge. I love that you use that terminology, but it's like you're the product and, the first couple $1 million in annual revenue. And then you have to learn how to like
navigate yourself into some sort of hybrid role, and then eventually into more of a strategist and architect role, right?
100%.
It's like developing those different skill sets as the company changes and evolves. But I think you're hitting it right on the head, man. I think that a lot of people think that it's not possible for them because they're so stuck in the business, but it is, and you don't have to, like, because at the end of the day, like, I meet business owners that are like, no, this is what I want to do. Like for example, like we had the opportunity to sell my pool cleaning company, and my business partner said, hey, this is like life-changing money for me, and I'm like, I get it. I mean, this is not it's not a small amount of money for me either. Let's think about it over the weekend. You let me know how you want to do it. I'll follow your lead.
Yeah.
Comes back Monday and he's like, how much golf can I play anyways? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months before you get bored. He's like, yeah, I'm still too young. I'm like, yeah, so what would you do after you got bored of golfing? He's like, I'd love to do this. I mean, I'm already doing what I love. And I'm like, great, let's just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just keep growing it. And he's like, awesome. Great. Yeah. Doesn't bother me one way or the other. We can sell it or we can keep going. So
that's awesome.
I will say that if you are enjoying it, then good for you. Don't listen to me, right? Like if you love what you do and it's fun and you like being the product and you like being in there and you like being the one, go for it. As long as it makes you happy, right? At the end of the day, it needs to make you happy. But I do want to go back all the way to the point where you said about my girls and time value. I will say that I did optimize for time a lot because I processed everything. And I reverted back to working on 20 businesses. The whole 20 business idea, one of the many reasons is because I noticed that my kids, I'm not good enough as a dad to teach them how to manage money because I've never really experienced, generational wealth, and I don't know those skills. And I mean, I'm justifying it. I could obviously learn it, but I don't know how to teach them values and how to manage money and how to teach endurance and work ethic. And so I noticed that because I was always there for everything. I attended everything. My wife doesn't work. She's a stay-at-home mom. And we're both attending all their teacher parent conferences. We're going to their like shows. We're both everything. We're optimized so much for their attention and quality of time. My oldest approached me a couple of years ago and she's like, Dad, are we rich? And my wife's like freaking out, right? She's like, who asked you that? Why do you want to know this and this and that? And, and I just like looked at her, and luckily I remember this Instagram reel I saw from Shaquille O'Neal, and I was able to repeat it, and I was able to tell her, I'm like, Mommy and Daddy are rich, you're poor. And so I was able to call her out on that. But I very quickly realized I don't have the skill set to teach her hard work and ethics without showing it to her. Like I don't know how to communicate that I'm deficient as a father, like in the sense of like my abilities and skills. And I want to learn it and I want to master it. But what's easier for me to show her is just showing her what it looks like to work hard and strive for something extraordinary.
Yeah.
And so I made the conscious decision to stop attending everything and start showing her what it's like to go push yourself to go achieve something even greater.
Wow. Yeah.
And so instead of making my same salary working less as a consultant, I started building these businesses. And this is one of the many reasons why I started jumping into this 5-year sprint of 20 businesses.
Yeah. And I love that. I love the intentionality of that. I think when it's done intentionally and okay, I'm doing this for partially so that I can set this example for my kids, then it is you being a really good father. And it is a strategy for you to demonstrate to them one essential value to success, and that is work ethic and setting a goal and going after it and giving it the sacrifice that it needs in a sprint without it killing you, burning you out, and taking you away from everything, of course. But I love that, man. It's such a powerful thing, man. I feel like we just scratched the surface of how much value I could get from talking to you, as well as our audience, but we are coming up against the clock. And so I want to jump into the exit round, and hopefully maybe we can have a part 2 of this conversation at some point in the future. I'd love it, because I'd love to dive more into your podcast and things like that. But I want to jump into the exit round, which is the 5 questions we ask every guest on our show. Cool. Awesome. The first question is kind of, we want to be trendy. This is a trendy question. What is your all-time favorite business book?
Hard Things of Hard Things by Ben Horowitz.
Okay.
It's just my favorite business book by far. I like the reference to the 90s rap. like, I love the horror stories, the relationship stories, the just the journey that he went through. That book is so entertaining and insightful and instructional. So it's been really powerful. And I have a close second, Straight from the Gut by Jack Welch. Is really, really good for me too. I really like that one as well. Really, really taught me how to it really influenced a lot of my operating system. Jack Welch's methodologies and thought process. Yeah.
That's amazing. Those are both really, really, really powerful recommendations for our audience. So what portion of your income is independent of your daily effort and work?
You mean like real estate passive, like that kind of,
or what do you have? Yeah, I mean,
income?
So money that you don't have to go and expend time, effort, energy, or resource to get.
Yeah, I'd say negative. I mean, right now, I mean, I'm going full hilt, man. I mean, every chance I get nervous. It's been a real struggle the last 4 years being on this 5-year journey, because what it boils down to is just every time I get nervous or scared or the risk is too high and I'm like, hey, it's a good idea, but I just don't know if I can inherit that risk. I have to calm myself down, take a breathing exercise, and then just force myself to take the risk. Just say yes and do it.
Yeah.
And it's 5 years. And that's kind of like what I keep telling myself. You're going to be 80 years old and you're going to regret that you never went full hilt for 5 years. Yeah. And so I just keep telling myself that it's the right thing to do. And the worst case scenario for me, I mean, unfortunately, I'm very blessed. And I have a good network. I have good skills, and I can get a good paying job pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so the worst that's going to happen to me is that I fail these businesses and I go become a W-2, which doesn't sound that bad anyways. Cause I'm like, then I'll have these, 3 weeks of vacation. Maybe I'll get an extra one every 4 years I work there. And, I'll be able to turn off my phone at night and the weekends. And I don't know, it doesn't sound that bad anyway. So I've just been really focusing on going full hilt, and I have 1 more year and I'm going to start 4 more businesses this year. And so it requires a lot of cash. So I'm not independently wealthy. So I have to go make that cash.
Yeah.
So as soon as I make cash, I spend it and I just go full hilt. I have 10 more months of going full hilt, so I don't live with regrets. And then I'll answer that question next time we talk, and I'll let you know. But
and I think it's the goal. Obviously, is like you have a plan to create that, and you're in the middle of running the play, right? And that's the thing is, I think the reason we ask this question is because so many entrepreneurs, they don't even have the plan. They're just so stuck in the right now. They're not even thinking in the future. They're thinking, how can I just tyranny the urgent, right? And that's what keeps you trapped in the golden cage of success. Is you just are constantly under the tyranny of the urgent, dealing with putting out fires in your business and dealing with all that, rather than having an actual sprint plan, which it sounds like you're in a 5-year sprint, kind of the last leg of a 5-year sprint.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
I have 2 of them that are cash flowing with or without me. So that's happening already. And then I have another 2 that'll start cash flowing at the end of this year.
That's awesome.
And then probably about 3 more the year after. So, but again, if you want to know the percentage of income, I guess if you count that as income versus expenses, it just depends on how you qualify it. But I'd say that within the next 4 or 5 years, it'd be 90% would be semi-passive.
See, and you worked 5 years to build that. That's amazing. So what is one thing that business pulls you away from, though, that you wish you had more time for?
Sleep.
Sleep?
Sleep. Yeah, I mean, because it's the easiest thing to sacrifice, right? I don't want to sacrifice time away from my kids. I don't want to, and I want to learn how to, I want to be healthy so I can be a better worker. And so I picked up boxing and golfing this year, and
awesome.
And I don't want to have a no home, so I have to spend time with my beautiful wife, who's so supportive of me being this dumb adventurer, and I want to maintain that. And so the first thing that I sacrifice is sleep. We all have 24 hours in a day, you know, and you can only do what you can do in 24 hours. And the easiest thing for me to sacrifice is sleep. So I just sleep less. Yeah.
Lame.
5 years.
Yeah.
Can sleep when I'm dead. Yeah.
It's 5 years. There you go. So what advice would you give to your younger self about starting and building a business?
Oh, that's interesting. Younger self, I would say kind of more cheekishly, don't sell the restaurant. My first business was a restaurant, and it did really well. We made $3 million our first year, and I thought I was the world's greatest entrepreneur, and I was just very lucky. And I proceeded to fail 5 businesses straight back to back after that.
Wow.
But in hindsight, if I had known what I know now, I should have kept that, because that was a gold mine, and it would have set me up for life. And I was so lucky, and I didn't know it. I was so arrogant and dumb and young. So I didn't know that I was that lucky, but I was at the right time, right place. So I would have told myself not to sell that, but I would just tell myself to risk more. If I can go back and tell myself one thing is like, you literally don't, like, nothing bad's gonna happen. There's nothing you can't change about yourself. Like, it's something that I wish I knew earlier in life too. Like, you evolve as a human, and you're so focused on what people think about you in your teens, and then in your 20s, even, you're trying to establish who you are, trying to figure out who you are, but you're like so concerned with what people think. And my mentor said it the best, because I turned 40 something, and I talked to him. I'm like, hey, like, I don't really care what people think about me anymore. I just do what I want to do. Does that mean I think I'm an adult? I think I'm grown up.
Yeah.
And he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he's like, you're a grown up when you realize no one gave a shit about you to begin with. Just do your life. Just be happy. Do you? You know what I mean? No one gives a shit about you. Just do you. Everyone's too busy on themselves. And I'm like, that is the most fascinating concept ever, because it's absolutely accurate.
Yeah.
And I wish I just known that sooner. And I would tell my younger self, just do you. Just risk. Go do what you think is best, and just try everything you possibly can, because you're younger, you're sprightly, you learn faster, you're more energetic, you need less sleep. Like, you can live on a couch for 6 months, and no one's going to care if you failed a business and you're 22 years old and you're living on your friend's couch. Like, who cares? There's no ego, there's no nothing about it, and there's no consequences. You have no kids, you have no liabilities, you have no burden. Like, I wish I just risked way more back then.
Yeah. No, that's really, really good. So then, last question here in the exit round is, what's one strategy, you feel free to share it, at a tactical level for building both time freedom and financial freedom?
Time boxing. I time box everything. So I track all my hours, and I try to set goals for what I want to achieve. And then I allocate kind of like how much time I want to spend on a week on what. And then I kind of try to map it out as best I can. And then I police it like crazy. And then I actually enter the hours that I actually did. And then at the end of the month and in the quarter, end of every 6 months, I kind of audit myself in these cadences and say, hey, I wanted to be this healthy. I wanted to be this much time with my family. I wanted to spend this much time on my business. This is how much I want to spend inside of those subset of businesses. How do I feel financially? How do I feel emotionally? How do I feel physically? And do I like it? Oh, I don't like this. I don't like that. Then the next month, I just change the inputs. I just change the hours allocated to each one. And life is literally inputs and outputs, man. You will get what you put in. And so if you can think about it that way, you can literally design the life that you want. You just have to be disciplined enough to do it. But that's the one tactic that I would share with any entrepreneur that wants time freedom and financial freedom is, if those are the two desires, like, figure out what you need to do to get that, and then box it in times and stick with it.
I love that. That's really, really good, because a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, they're really good at time blocking inside of the work for their business. But then when you get outside of that, everything is just like, it's just a freaking wild, wild west. It's like, oh, we're just going to go with it or whatever. And it's like, no, like you're giving that intentionality to this, but the things that you actually say that you value more, that you're doing all of this for, you don't have the same level of intentionality with how you approach that. Like, you've got your company's mission statement. What's your family's mission statement? You've got, you've got your company's core values. What's your family's core values, right? Like, you've got time set apart for all these functions within your business. What are you setting time apart? I love that. It's so good, man. Hey, we're gonna wrap this up, but I want our listeners to have the opportunity to get more connected with you. I know that you've got your operating system that you offer. You've got the incubator, all that kind of stuff. What's the best way for our listeners to be able to connect with you, continue learning from you? And hey, maybe there's somebody out there that wants to jump in and partner with you on something.
Yeah, so the best way to go is my personal website, alwayshan.com. So it's always plural, and then Han is my last name, H-A-N. Awesome. Always Han. It's kind of a play on words, like I'm always on, but my last name is Han.
That's awesome.
My dad joke of the day. There you go.
No, I think it's great. So alwayshan.com. Go there. There's some free resources there that you can access. I know you've got a newsletter that folks can get on to kind of get into your ecosystem and into your world. So Phenomenal.
Yep. It has my newsletter and it has a little widget you do so you can like click through what you need and it'll lead you to the right way to work with me. So if, whatever portco you need, or if you need me in a different way, like just fill out the little widget you do and it'll help guide you to figuring out the best way to work with me.
Perfect. All right. Well, everybody check out alwayshan.com. Young Han, thank you so much, man, for the time. Any kind of closing words, last things that you want to leave with our listeners before we sign off?
I just want to thank you for the time, man. This was really great. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share my point of view and opinion. And the only thing I want to say is these are just my opinions. And I apologize if I've upset anybody, but I don't listen to me, Yeah, I'm very opinionated, so I apologize.
Don't ever. I'm of the opinion that you don't need to ever apologize for having an opinion that's different from someone else. Because if you do, you spend your whole life groveling, hoping that people will forgive you. And at the end of the day, it's like we all have differences of opinion, and I think I don't know of anything you said today that I didn't agree with. So at least we are on the same page, and everybody else can get over it and suck it up and quit being a baby and actually go out and build something. So, all right. So
thank you for the time, and thank you for the platform.
Thanks, Young. All right. Thanks everybody for listening to On the Exit. We'll see you next time.